self-described fascist begging for donations. I always like getting the Daily Beast take because they're just so partisan. Like that guy could have died, and they go, fascist pussy dies of heart attack because his heart is so full of hate. So he was a cloud engineer at some place called V Up. He's fired now. This is 3-3. I don't understand these companies. Are you just an internet provider? We're redefining what it means to scale in the cloud. So you help me store my data in a cloud, I guess?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. It doesn't sound real. Yeah. And obviously, if you're an engineer at a cloud company, you're probably pretty spectrumy. So when you say to a spectrumy guy, I demand that you denounce Hitler, and I demand that you say you're a fascist, or you deny you're a fascist, your first instinct is going to be no. And it worked with Sarah when she said, yeah, I'm a racist, whatever, go f yourself. It's a delicate game to play. I just want you to see who we're talking about here with Mehdi Hasan. This is the kind of things he's allowed to say without worrying about getting fired. No, go to 3-1. It was on the list. I just had a weird order to it. We're animals, by the way. That's fine. You're not fired.
In Islam, the ends do not justify the means. This idea is totally alien to Islam. In Islam, what is halal is halal, what is haram is haram. We do not bend our law, our morality for our short-term aims. Never. And we never lose the moral high ground. If we know anything of Shia of Muhammad, as Shia of Ali, as Shia of Hassan, as Shia of Hussein, we know that keeping the moral high ground is key. Once we lose the moral high ground, we are no different from the rest of the non-Muslims, from the rest of those human beings who live their lives as animals, bending any rule to fulfill any desire. Once we do that, we are lost.
We're the kafar, by the way. We have disease.
Islam, to believe is to know. To disbelieve is not to know. That is what it fundamentally comes down to. It is to remain ignorant, to cover up knowledge. After all, what is kafir? Kafir comes from the root word, which means to cover up, to conceal. The kafir is the one who covers up that knowledge which is clear. The French Orientalist scholar Lamens, he once wrote that the Quran is not far from considering unbelief, disbelief, as an infirmity, as an illness, as a disease of the human mind. SubhanAllah. Non-Muslims point this out to us.
Hi, this is Anthony Cumia.
And hello, I am Gavin McInnes.
Together, we're Compound Censored.
And we'd like you to subscribe to our network that has more fantastic content you could shake a stick at. Use this promo code for a one-time super offer.
Do it. It's uncensored and oh so entertaining.
I mean,
and of course, the kafir, the disbelievers, the atheists who remain deaf and stubborn to the teachings of Islam, the rational message of the Quran. They are described in the Quran as, quote, a people of no intelligence. Allah describes us. Not of no morality, not of no belief, a people of no intelligence. Because they are incapable of the intellectual effort it requires to shake off those blind prejudices, to shake off those easy assumptions about this world, about the existence of God. In this respect, the Quran describes the atheists as cattle. As cattle, as those who go into craft and do not stop and wonder.
How do we feel about atheists? Okay, stop. I think we get the idea of he's a radical. He's like Sadiq Khan, right? And what they do is, why is he dressed in that Ebenezer Scrooge sleep shirt in those clips, but he wears a suit with us? Because he's posing as a normal, moderate Muslim, but he's a radical who's into replacement, who wants to convert or die. What do we do to atheists? We hire them. We pray for their souls. We go, I think you're making a big mistake. But in Islam, you have to die. And that's the definition of a cult. A cult says you're either 100% with us or you're dead to us. That's the way it is in Scientology. With Christianity, we go, we'd love you to be 100% with us. and we want to help you be 100% with us. But if you're not, I think you're making a huge mistake, buddy. Here he is, and this is a clip we were showing before, claiming that you can't be native. You can't be a native Brit, which I find to be so crazy. Like, when were the first? Who were the first Britons? What about the Picts in Scotland? When the fuck were they there? Is that not good enough? I think it was a hell of a lot before the fucking Comanches in America.
Okay. So here's my question. In your book, you say that in the 2011 census, it was revealed that the indigenous British had become a minority in their own capital. The census showed that 63% of the population of London is born in Britain. The only way you can get a minority status is if you're white British. Then you're a minority in London. Okay, but so British born. It's a phrase you've used in many interviews, many articles, in the Daily Mail, in the newspapers.
Al Jazeera.
You can look to the second generation. I mean, this is not...
No, I'm asking a simple question. Is that wrong? It is wrong, isn't it? In your book, you say that the indigenous British are a minority in their own capital. They're not. 63%.
If you want to score a point, then...
I'm not scoring a point. I'm asking a professor of economics, did he get a quite glaring error in his book?
No, I didn't.
And repeated in the Daily Mail, and repeated in the New Statesman,
no, I didn't.
and repeated in the
No,
Economist.
I did not get a glaring error.
Okay.
That's what he does too. It's like this attack. Remember, what's that? Kafir? No, taqiyya.
Taqiyya, yeah, to lie.
You're allowed to lie in order to win. It's a Bolshevik thing, right? The communists did. And all bets are off. I just need to win. So when I debate, I'll use these dirty pool tactics like, are you an economist? Are you an economist? Are you an economist? Until the other guy's just annoyed. And it is all about scoring points. He gets people fired for a living. Like if you go to 3-6, our good pal Ryan Gerdusky, remember him? He said, I'm a Palestinian supporter, which you can say. You can't say you support Israel with the radical left, but you can say you support Palestine. And remember this? We showed this when it came out.
You don't want to be called Nazis. Stop doing.
You're called an anti-Semite more than anyone else at this table.
Yeah.
And people would sit there and no, by me, I never called you an anti-Semite. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians. I'm used.
So that old trope, if you don't want to be called Nazis, stop acting like Nazis. That's a common thing they pull out, which is like, if it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck. So in other words, I'm right to call you a Nazi. And then Ryan's kind of giving him a break, going, you've been called an anti-Semite more than anyone, because Mehdi Hasan is an anti-Semite. That's the definition of these radical Muslims. And there's no such thing as a moderate Muslim, by the way. A moderate Muslim is just a Muslim who's not doing his work. He's not following the religion. So Ryan throws him a ball, throws him a bone and says, you've been called an anti-Semite more than anyone. And then what does Mehdi do? He goes, by you. And this is where it really goes off.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off.
You don't want to be called Nazis. Stop doing it.
So that he had to cling on to. I wish I had a longer clip of it. Maybe if you go down a bit. Or maybe in this article in 3-7, because that was the end of him over at CNN. He says, because Mehdi loves that kind of shit. That's what he does. He gets people fired, right? This is his jihad. Is getting intelligent people out of the conversation so he can dominate it with his ad hominem attacks. And keep going down. Did you just say I should be killed? And that's the end of him. Yeah, it's not there. But go back. We have the text. Hope. Did you just say I should die? You just said I should be killed. Gerdusky apologized, not good enough, claiming he heard Hasan say he supported Hamas. After commercial break, both Gerdusky and Hasan had left the roundtable discussion. And of course, there is zero room for racism or bigotry at CNN. Why not? Shouldn't there be? If you're having a discussion, don't odious ideas like racism die when they're not being challenged? I mean, die when they're challenged by good ideas? Anyway, That's the. Mehdi Hasan is a good example of the troubles with immigration because his parents were Muslim. His people came to Britain. They've ruined Birmingham, London, Luton, and then he gets fired from his jobs there. He spreads over to America, and here he is getting people fired and destroying lives over here like a locust. He's a fucking locust. But that brings us, of course, to immigration in America. I was shocked to learn last night that the wife of the ICE app, you know what the ICE app is, right?
Yeah.
It tells you where ICE are, so you can sabotage them picking up illegals. Great, thanks. Awesome. She's a cop. She works in law enforcement as a forensic scientist. And she proudly supported him and his ICE app. I mean, the quality of... The DOJ has just fired Carolyn Feinstein after I exposed that she's married to Joshua Aaron Feinstein, the founder of the Ice Block app, and that the app is registered to the home she lives in with their husband. Another scalp, loomered. Like, she didn't... And I read this article. She doesn't see what she did as wrong. She goes, when I saw what ICE was doing in our country, we've deported what? How many have we deported now? 16,000?
Something like that.
Obama did 2 million. We got 12 million under Biden with his open border. So even if we were lucky enough to catch up to Obama's numbers, that's barely taking a chip. We already had 30 million here. 42 million total is how many I say are here. I'll go down to 35. That doesn't feel right, though. No, it's 42. It was 30 before Biden let in 12. So 16 million isn't good enough. And we're at 15,000? It's not an issue. Look how the Daily Beast reports it, though. Bondi takes revenge on ICE app. On family of man who created ICE. Look at his fucking hair. What a raging douche. And what do they say? Okay, Pam Bondi's Justice Department has fired... Wait, let me hear it. The wife of the man who developed the controversial anti-ICE thing, warning after foreign influence, Laura Loomer, attacked her on X. Why did she attack her? She served as a forensic accountant at the DOJ's office of the U.S. Okay, so she's not just a forensic scientist. She's a forensic accountant for the government. And she's telling the government not to do their job. I mean, that's a pretty justified firing, if there's anything. NGOs are a big part of this. A big part of this, the finances behind NGOs. This is where I start to get tongue-tied after an hour and 45 minutes. This isn't an NGO per se. It might be. But when I was at the Knights of Columbus, I was always annoyed by the charity. I know that sounds terrible. But we would, like, for Thanksgiving, we'd get these turkeys together. We would have a van, like a Sprinter van full of turkeys. And I like the concept of giving poor families a turkey for Thanksgiving. That sounds cool, all right? That's why we watched A Christmas Carol. And it's a lesson we learned from Scrooge. But I could tell we were being scammed by immigrants and liars and posers. And I didn't trust the process. I'm like you. I want turkeys to go to poor people on Thanksgiving who are just down on their luck. But it's New York City. It's corruption central. And I could tell they weren't down on their luck. And the church, we'd always do things like give diapers to the poor. And I could tell they were already on welfare, just scamming us. Maybe they're junkies selling them. I would see these African immigrants roll up to churches and take all the Similac, cases and cases of it, and load up their car. Are you selling the Similac? Or do you have the hungriest babies in the world? He's wearing a suit, and he's in a Subaru, by the way. So this is obviously America, but this is a good example of why I'm right to be dubious of charity.
This guy donated his old shoes to a Red Cross container in Germany, but he hid a GPS tracker inside. Just 5 days later, they traveled 800 kilometers through Zagreb and ended up in a secondhand shop in Bosnia. So he flew there, walked into the store, and found his exact shoes for sale for 10 euros. The staff said that the items come from Germany, but there was no mention of the Red Cross. He bought his own shoes back, and now everyone's asking, where did donated clothes really go?
Yeah.
This guy...
Where does donated everything really go? And here's a great example of that hitting home. Horrific fires, covered here on censored.tv by Off Topic. The Palisade fires. He did a great documentary on that you should check out. But all the rich people of LA got together and they raised $100 million. Andy No says $50 million. It was $100 million. Where did it go?
Fire Aid, that star-studded concert that raised $100 million for wildfire victims. But where did all that money go? Investigative journalist Sue Pascoe has been digging for answers, and what she's discovered might just surprise you. And Sue Pascoe, she joins me now live on set. You are the editor of Circling the News.
Yes,
we can clearly see that. Thanks for the work that you're doing. So this is personal and professional for you because you lost your home in the Palisades fire. But that's not necessarily how this story landed in your lap. How did this all come to be?
A reader sent me a little note and said, I've never seen any fire aid money. How do I apply for fire aid money? And I thought, well, you know, I've never thought about that. There's 12,000 people, basically 12,000 homes gone. Those people probably want to know where the money is. This will be an easy task to find out. So I contacted the Annenberg. They never responded.
And the Annenberg is...
Foundation, because they are overseeing the wildfire funds, yes. So I emailed them several times. They never responded. I called them several times. They never responded. And finally, it was like almost 2 weeks later, a woman got back to me and she said, oh, I'm sorry for the delay. The person you need to speak to is Chris Wallace. He's a media spokesperson for wildfire funds. So I contacted Chris and I said, you know, victims want to know when they can get their money. Seems like a very simple question. He said, basically, they don't. All this money are going to nonprofits, and then nonprofits will take care of making sure the money's distributed. So I looked at initially they gave $50 million to about 120 nonprofits. And I looked at these nonprofits, and one of them said, we help mobile home parks. And there were 2 mobile home parks in the Palisades, all low income. And so I contacted the people there. They had never received any money. They had never heard of that.
Wait a minute.
When you go
Stop.
through, I would urge everyone.
So that concert raised $100 million. $50 million went to these nonprofits. Where'd the other $50 million go? To NGO salaries is the answer.
To just go to the nonprofits that are listed. If you want a good laugh, I mean, one of the nonprofits cleans preschool bathrooms. Well, after the fire, who knows? Maybe there is a preschool bathroom that needs cleaning.
Yeah. In other words, a lot of these nonprofits are ancillary, if you will.
That's a nice way of saying it.
And you urge people, our viewers, they can go on the Fire Aid website. And yes, in terms of if you're Fire Aid, you can say, we have listed all the nonprofits. So they've given out $75 million.
And here's the NGOs destroying our country with their fucking bullshit.
I need to see who you're doing. You don't need to see shit, bitch. Get the fuck out of my face.
What is the text for that? Springfield, Ohio. Anyone recognize this NGO? This woman came at me while I was in my car filming her and 2 other women facilitating more new Haitians into the city from Indiana, and they helped 30 to 40 Haitians take over the parking lot at Wendy's today. They'll be quickly settled. So corruption abounds in our government, and it's very suspicious. And that brings us to Kash Patel and Epstein. Has he been compromised by Mossad? Now, I'm a pro-Israel guy. Makes a lot of you mad. I'm a Zionist. I don't like Netanyahu. I think he's a war hawk. I think he's evil. I think he wants a global war and he wants to suck America in, A. B, I don't have a problem with them not getting any more money or much less money. A lot of Israelis feel the same way. And C, I am of the firm belief that Epstein Island was run by Mossad. And they used it to blackmail politicians, and they used it for money laundering. And I have no problem with those facts and maintaining my belief that I don't hate Jews. But anyway, Kash Patel's not looking very good because he would not shut up about the Epstein list, and he told us how important it was. And I can tell you my theory on that, too. I think Trump is on it. Now, is it true what's on there? I don't. Is it what Alex Jones calls a poison pill? It's likely. I don't see Trump as... we know the kind of girls he likes. He likes Russians roughly his age. He doesn't like 16-year-old girls. But I think that the Democrats were in control of the list briefly, and I think they added a bunch of Trump stuff. So he's decided throwing all the Dems under the bus who are legitimately on the list doing bad things isn't worth the risk of people seeing me on the list, which isn't true. Might be true. I don't think it's true. So I'm just going to kill the whole thing. And maybe Kash Patel separately is on board with that because his Mossad wife, who's a fucking smoke show, by the way, agrees.
Is the director of the FBI caught up in an Israeli honeypot operation? All right, here's the context. Quote, some social media users have wondered whether the FBI and the U.S. Justice Department's refusal to release the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients could have something to do with Alexis Wilkins, the 26-year-old girlfriend of 45-year-old FBI Director Kash Patel. This is what people online are pointing to, the fact that Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins, works for PragerU, which is a media company that supposedly espouses American values, except for the fact that it is run by a former Israeli military intelligence officer. Now, I did a bunch of digging, and unfortunately, there's actually not a lot of public information to go off of in terms of Alexis Wilkins' background. Now, what I was able to find is that her father worked for Gillette and that her mother was in aerospace and pharmaceuticals. It also says that they lived in England and Switzerland before settling in Fayetteville, Arkansas when she was 9. It also says that she attended College du Le Monde International School in Switzerland. Now, interestingly, ChatGPT is calling this a strange biographical gap in that she has no visible friend network or public high school college cohort interviews, which they say is unusual for a public figure in entertainment, and that if a Mossad asset were inserted early in life, these gaps would be precisely where you'd hide alternate history or handler training. Dr. Simon Goddick says that Alexis Wilkins is nearly 20 years younger than Kash and also works for an NGO that's basically Israeli intelligence, that's PragerU that he's referring to, and he says, seriously, why would an attractive young woman date a not-so-attractive Indian American? Classic honeypot. I mean, I don't know. Who are we to really judge what people are attracted to and not attracted to? Anyway, I'm not sure what's true or what's not true, but evidently these are, quote, classic elements used in honeypot operations: soft power, ideological alignment, and sexual emotional entanglement. Let me know what you think.
So that brings us to 44, where we are reminded how determined Kash Patel was to release this list. What is a list, though? Is it just names and flight logs? I need Sean Goggins' 8 out of 12-year-old boy in the butt, and here's a video of it that is not AI. Are we going to get that?
I don't think so.
What the hell are these Republicans doing? Oh,
I saw you
give out the list.
I saw you make news this morning about that. I got to get to that.
Yeah.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, you know, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but if release the names, right? What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list? You're going to accept Dick Durbin's word, or whoever that guy is, as to who is on that list and who isn't, and that it can and can't be released? Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are. We have an election coming up, and we need to adjudicate this matter at the polls. God knows the FBI and DOJ aren't going to do anything. But how are you going to reward the FBI with a new headquarters building after their illegal surveillance on Donald Trump continues with a reauthorization of FISA, and we can't even get basic documents out? This is why America hates Congress. And this is why I'm tired of the Republican majority saying they're going to get the job done and failing. You know,
That's pretty incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why he was elected. That's why we put him in that position, because we go, we like the way you think, Cash. Spill the fucking beans. Of course, Alex Jones is the best place to go for this. 6'3", he brings up a good point. Jump ahead here over Mamdani, where he goes, why did they release a tape that we can so obviously see has been edited? I think they thought we were too stupid to figure it out. I always go competence crisis with this shit.
I want to believe in President Trump. He's doing a great job on so many fronts. But 8-9 days ago, they put out that DOJ report saying Epstein killed himself and acted alone and wasn't a human trafficker and there wasn't blackmail, despite all the evidence and all the hearings and all the convictions and his accomplice being convicted of it, Ghislaine Maxwell. And then Trump saying, hey, I'm the one that ordered this. Now his daughter-in-law, the head of the RNC, Laura Trump, came out yesterday with the great Benny Johnson and said, no, we are going to continue the investigation. And then Trump came out in a press conference today and said, no, I've ordered Pam Bondi to release anything but the victims. So now we admit the stuff's there. Good. They've gone from their 180 from the truth to about a 140 back to the truth. Now, this broke last Thursday, and I saw it. Independent researchers looked at the raw footage that they supposedly released out of the hallway to Epstein's cell, which wasn't even the hallway to his cell, the cell block. It was around the corner and had a missing minute. Well, now it turns out Adobe Premiere, it's got almost 3 minutes missing and a bunch of other edits. And last week I covered a little bit, but waited to see. Now, a whole bunch of independent researchers and groups have looked at the file put out by the FBI, and indeed the thing is edited up one side and down the other. So good Lord, what a scandal. And everybody's trying to throw Bondi under the bus, or Bongino under the bus, or Cash Patel under the bus. And now Bondi's...
I want them all under the bus.
He's to do a press conference. Bongino says, or he may not come back. This is a shit show. And look, I'm not trying to blame
Okay, let's
Trump
go to 6'4". He basically says the same thing. I mean, the information goes on for days with this. But...
a problem. Yesterday, the DOJ and the FBI announced that after further investigation, they have concluded that Mr. Lolita Express took his own life. They even released almost 11 hours of footage for you at home to watch. But it now turns out that they've clipped 60 seconds from the video. Watch this. Here's the moment that this happens. Viewers tracking the video noticed a clean jump. The footage cuts off at exactly 11:59:00 and then resumes at 12:00:00 with an entire minute missing, and no explanations have been given for the gap.
The cut is time coded? I didn't realize that.
This picture was released as the image for his cell door, and it obviously doesn't match the one given in that video. So what were they clipping, and what door is the real door? Either way, with AI and the technology that we have today, you could just do a better job. As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this.
Yeah, that's a good point too. If you're gonna scam me, just film the room like tomorrow for 24 hours and then lie about all the dates and everything. It's a bad lie. Anyway, a real cornucopia of Epstein facts is, from all places, Tim Dillon, who says in this video he just had dinner with J.D. Vance. Is he like the top intellectual of our time? So we're not going to watch this whole thing. I think it's an hour and 20 minutes, but it is fucking good. And just like that Aboriginal dead bodies thing, I highly recommend you devote some time to this. It's a joy.
Who are known fake frauds, who are known to be all over the Epstein file, who are known controlling it on the U.S. side, anything they tell me suspect, so I don't believe it right away. Then you bring up Netanyahu, and that's the key. So anytime Mossad is going to operate like this on domestic soil, they're going to need a CIA agreement and pass. This goes on for decades. And then you've got Maxwell's dad that was MI6, Mossad on record, and KGB, triple agent, highest level. Well, the real agents are triple level or quadruple level. So you have Trump, grab it, do it. He gets it. Oh, my God, I've been set up. Then he's mad at Netanyahu. Under from behind-the-scenes sources, we're not attacking Iran months ago. Netanyahu shows up. Suddenly, Trump 180s, starts doing whatever Netanyahu wants. And we know who has the full file of all the hidden cameras and all the stuff.
Oh, right.
At little
that would be Netanyahu.
In the Caribbean, at his facility in Zorro Ranch, New Mexico, in New York. And we had Ehud Barak there photographed dozens of times, in 30-something meetings there in New York. As all of a sudden you get a 180, as soon as Netanyahu shows up, now Trump learns what's in the FBI file. Right after that, then Netanyahu comes and tells him, and I don't believe from my sources, and this is high-level FBI, that it is Trump, but it's people in his administration, including a top financial advisor that's heavily involved. Trump wants to get his agenda through of jobs, $15 trillion of investment coming in, $3 trillion already here. He wants to stop World War III. I'm not defending this. I'm saying the thinking, I've been told.
Yeah.
And so he goes, oh, my God, this is a giant new Russiagate setup. He comes out and says to my list, to his supporters.
Would I be crazy when you say a top financial advisor? Are we talking about Epstein's neighbor?
We are.
Okay, interesting, and that makes sense. So
which shows how informed you are, and I'm not trying to be a mean person.
Yeah.
Because he may even be innocent. But we're talking about Lutnick.
That's right, Howard Lutnick. Don't sue me. Kidding.
Well, it's beyond suing. This is like the intel agencies
They're
think we're
gonna
stupid.
find
They
me in
can't
the
be
pool. Yeah, you're right.
He's
now,
the Secretary of Commerce right now.
Well, let's just say
Howard
you brought
Lutnick.
it out. You're smart to figure it out. Nobody else.
All right.
was.
So
I'm
anyway,
sure it's true.
we're sitting here on my show watching a show. That's a sign I don't have a lot to provide. But that is an excellent sort of Epstein for dummies. So yeah, we're a little concerned about our boy Trump.
So if you enjoyed that clip,
then subscribe to Compound Censored using this promo code.